From Geppetto Studios in New Freedom, Pennsylvania, welcome to the Cosmic Geppetto Podcast, your home for inclusive, positive geek culture, where we talk about movies, comics, music, books, and whatever else we feel like. Please welcome your host, Brad Mendenhall.
Hey kids, it is episode 244 of the Cosmic Geppetto Podcast. It is a good one. Jade, Jackson, and Aubrie+Sellers, both of whom are excellent singer-songwriters responsible for amazing music, have joined forces for the fantastic album Breaking Point. So happy to have Jackson+Sellers on the show. I've been a fan of Jade's for a while, and Aubrie is awesome. Anywho, let's dive in.
That was the first time we met, and we didn't see each other again in person until we were making the record. Like, it literally happened so quickly, and we hit it off so well, personally and musically, that it just snowballed, and it was amazing. Just the record label that Jade was on that put this record out, they really responded to it, and everyone just seemed to really respond, and we had such fun making it. Yeah, it's crazy. We did not know each other at all before then, and now we've known each other for about a year, and we feel like we're soulmates.
Yeah, I think we were friends in a past life, or like maybe my mother or my daughter. I don't know. Like, we're just definitely weirdly connected. We have a lot of similarities, and I DM'd her on Instagram, which was the silver lining of the pandemic, was having the time and space, not being able to tour, to reach out to Aubrie and inquire about a collaboration, and then it did just snowball from there. But when she was living in LA at the time, and I was living about 3 hours north. And I was like, "Are you free this Sunday?" And she was like, "Yeah." And I drove down, and I wasn't even planning on staying over or anything, but we just had so much fun. And she asked if I wanted to spend the night, and we totally had a girls' night. It was really fun, and just randomly recorded those demos, and the rest just happened super quickly.
What was the writing process like for the album? Were all the songs created from scratch, or did you go through songs that you've written before but had not yet recorded and go from there?
Yeah, it was more the latter. I had a song like "The World Is Black" on the record that I actually recorded in pre-production for my first album, and have been wanting to play somewhere forever. And so it was both of us going through each other's songs and playing songs for each other and seeing what we connected with. And then I brought out Wound Up, which I had started but hadn't finished, and we ended up finishing that song together and kind of revamping the lyrics. And so that was the only one that we really worked on together. And then, of course, the 3 cover songs that we reinterpreted. So it was a matter of finding these songs and putting them together rather than creating a bunch from scratch, which also enabled us to make the record so quickly.
One thing I loved about the album was the way your voices meshed together. With some songs, it sounded like there were 3 voices. You had Jade, Aubrie, and then you sang together, and it felt like your third voice. When did you realize you had something special with your voices?
That instantly happened, I think, especially when we recorded Has Been, like the demo of Has Been, the first day we met. That's when we were like so excited about working together and wanted to do more. And I think that's why it happened so quickly, was because we were like, whoa, our voices go together well. I mean, just the tone of our voices somehow, and like you said, when they come together, we feel like we enjoy the sound of it.
Yeah, no, seriously, because I mean, obviously, everyone who's familiar with Aubrie's music, like her voice is like unbeatable. It's like the best voice ever. And so when I'd originally reached out for her to do harmonies, I was like, anything she does on the song is going to make it sound better, because her voice as from an instrument perspective, which was my original intention, would just only add, and like it's just so pretty. But I never anticipated us singing in unison and having it become like this third thing, like you said. And when that did happen, it was so exciting and so cool. And I felt so honored to have my voice be part of something that her voice was also part of, because I looked up to her voice in a lot of ways. So yeah, it was really exciting.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I've seen performances of some of your music on YouTube, and you guys do a really good live show. Do you see yourselves as studio artists, or do you feel more at home live?
It's definitely a combination, but I actually don't think either one of us views ourselves as performers first. We're both pretty introverted, and I'm really connected to production and the sonic elements of music, as well as the songs and the emotion. And so I really enjoy being in the studio. And Jade,
my favorite part about everything is songwriting. That before I started singing, I wanted to be just a writer, like write children's books or just tell stories like in a more condensed version than like a novel or something. And so when I discovered songwriting, I was just obsessed with it. I never thought I was going to perform, but I kind of had to get my songs out there. And then once I did, you feel the connection with the audience. And I luckily had a very supportive father who kind of stuck me out in different situations where I probably wouldn't have been on my own because I was so shy as a kid. So that kind of all happened after the fact of me falling in love with songwriting and wanting to be a songwriter. So
we have gotten to play shows together, and it's been
really fun.
Yeah. I would say even more fun for me than performing by myself, for sure.
It's like you have somebody that's there, like if you're jumping out of an airplane by yourself versus jumping out with somebody strapped to you that like also has a parachute. So like if something bad happens, like,
it's really awesome.
It's pretty cool.
One of the songs that really caught me was your cover of Suzi Quatro's The Wild One. It took a minute to realize that wasn't original because of how different it was from her version. It seems covers go in one of two directions, either a duplication of the original like Weezer just did with Toto's Africa, or reimaginings like Willie Nelson did a few years back with Fleetwood Mac's Songbird.
I love that song. I love his version, yeah.
Or Sturgill Simpson with his Nirvana cover.
Yeah.
Such a good song! So did you think about doing a more note for note remake, or did you always plan to do an original take on it?
I don't typically approach covers ever in the way of copying the original, just because it's like karaoke at that point to me. It's kind of like, what's the point, I guess? So I think just naturally we were like, but it's not so much that we're like, we have to do this differently. It's, once again, it's just like, let's try to have this song be our most natural interpretation of how we would do it. And by doing that, it just ends up being more of an expression of us rather than a copy, I think, of the original.
I'm a red hot fox, I can take the knocks. I'm a hammer from hell, honey, can't you tell? I'm the wild one, yes, I'm the wild one. I'm a touched up freak on a winning streak. I'm gonna own this town, you can't hold me down. I'm the wild one, yes, I'm the wild one. Well, it ain't no use, turn me loose. More, I can't keep score.
Did you have other songs that you thought of covering? Are there a bunch of tracks that didn't make the cut that we could hear in the future?
There wasn't really any songs that almost made it. Because we had only a couple months to put this whole thing together, once we both agreed on something, which happened pretty seamlessly. It was on the record, and then we recorded it, and we didn't cut any of the tracks, and just the nature of this project, having it happen so quickly, there wasn't really much of that.
Every record I had made before this, I've cut like at least 1 or 2 songs off of, and we didn't do that here. So that was just another way that everything magically happened and worked out.
When did you do the recording for Breaking Point?
A year ago in October.
Where did you record?
So this is a cool thing too. There's a studio that just opened in East Nashville called The Cabin, and we were the first people to record a record there. So we kind of like christened the new studio, and it's a really small studio that Matty Alger opened. He played drums on the record. Yeah, it was really great because we had a small band. It was just us, Ethan, Matty, and the bass player Rich, and then the engineer Brandon Bell. So it was a cool little intimate experience, and that studio is like, I think has a really great vibe, but it's really intimate.
There's such a dreamy and haunted vibe to the album. It's so great. Was that something you planned on going in, or did it happen during recording?
Well, one thing is Hush that Jade sent me first. I feel like kind of has that haunting vibe, and so it kind of led the project in a way. But also, we both have a lot of influences. Like, we loved Wrecking Ball by Emmylou Harris that Daniel Lanois produced. He does a lot of super haunting steel type stuff. And then we've got like Mazzy Star and some other like dreamy type stuff that we both love.
Yeah, like The Cure or like the Cranberries. Like we kind of leaned into those influences without really even realizing it, I think, on this project.
Yeah, I think a lot of it just naturally came out because we both listened to that and kind of stuff and are drawn to that.
I'm a huge Danny Lanois fan. Great if I could pronounce it right. One of my all-time favorite albums is Chris Whitley's Living with the Law. Lanois discovered Whitley, played on that album, and it was recorded in his home studio. Basically, one of my desert island albums wouldn't have happened without him. He was also the producer on Bob Dylan's Time Out of Mind, which was brilliant and kicked off his career revival.
He also did a great Willie Nelson record. He's done a lot of great stuff.
What's next for Jackson+Sellers? More albums, tours, solo work, a break?
Yeah, I mean, since we're not playing much right now, still things are kind of weird. We had a tour booked this month that got canceled, so we're kind of have some extra, we're spending more time on promo and some other things. So I will say, like, I am introverted, like we discussed earlier, so I do need recharge time, but I do think that, we both will still continue to work on our solo stuff, but I'm hoping that we get to work together again and I think we will, and I think it'll come together naturally when the time is right because we really enjoy working together.
I'm in a contract with my producer that did my first 2 records on Anti, and it's a 3-record contract. So doing this side project and going under a different name was a way to create something different and new in my own timeline that didn't breach that contract. But because of that contract, I do have to do, I get the opportunity to make another record with my producer. And so I think we don't know, we haven't really discussed it, but I think we'll, our paths will diverge and we'll, do our solo artist stuff, and then they'll come back and intertwine again, I hope, sooner than later, because this was so fun.
Have either of you ever taken on a side project like this before?
Yeah, as far as like full blown side project, yeah, I've done little things here and there, but this is first like super. We made a whole record. We did a whole thing.
Yeah, I was in. I mean, like when I was 15, I was in a rockabilly band called the Royal Wreckers, and that was, we all wrote and stuff, but that was pretty short lived. And I did a few other things like that, but mainly just focused on doing solo stuff just because, like I mentioned, with loving songwriting, I just felt like I was writing so many songs and I needed to get them out, and it was really the only way to do that. So this is like the first time I've done a side project in this capacity, definitely, and it's been so nice. I feel like I've tried to do it a little bit here and there, or like scratch the surface of like inquiring about this type of thing before with different artists, and it just didn't feel right. And I think that if you're being creative and creating something and an expression of some form of yourself, there has to be fluidity in it for it to be authentic and for me to want to be a part of it. And that's the rarity of this project and why I think it did happen so quickly and people are responding so well because it was so like authentic to us.
Like I said earlier, I've watched some of your live performances on YouTube, and it's so cool hearing the songs from Breaking Point played live. If someone sees your show in person, I'm sure they expect songs from the new album, but will they also hear some of your solo stuff?
Yeah, it's mostly focused on the record we made together, but, when we have longer set and have time to, we like you said, we played a few shows and we've been able to play a little bit of hers and a little bit of mine and kind of even like walk off stage and let her play a couple songs and vice versa. It's fun. It's like, it becomes more like a show that way. I don't know. It's like really cool to do it together. Like we said earlier, it takes some of the pressure off of us, but it also like makes it more enjoyable and we get to be like a fan of each other. So yeah, there's a little bit of both.
It is nice because when we did play Americana Fest, there was a moment in our official showcase where Aubrie did a few of her originals and vice versa. And it's great for me because I have a really small bladder. So I was able to because that's always my biggest thing is like if you have an hour show, I'm like, dang it, like I drink way too much water. So it's positives all around.
Yeah, that's the benefit.
Yeah, that's the goal.
You don't want a situation like what happened to Fergie when she was with the Black Eyed Peas.
Yes!
No, I can't let that happen. So this is the way that this will happen is through this.
When I recommend Breaking Point to my friends, and obviously we want all our listeners to buy the album, what song should they listen to first to get roped in? And what do you think is the song that really exemplifies everything cool about this album?
I would say like Devil is an Angel because that was our first single and I feel like it's a representative of the spirit of the record, and also on some of the songs we wrote we're more singing lead and etc. And on that song I feel like we're both kind of taking the lead and sharing the lead, so I feel like that's a big intro for people to hear both of us. I agree.
Aubrie, what's your favorite Jade Jackson song?
Jade Jackson, like pre this record?
I was thinking of Jade's solo stuff, but is there also a song she brought to Jackson+Sellers you really love?
Because I felt like that when she sent me Hush for this record. And I love Waste Your Time, and I love all the songs of hers that we put on here, As You Run. But I also, and I don't know, I know that artists can get tired of playing their popular songs, but I like Bottle It Up. It's really, really catchy. We were like, please play Bottle It Up when we play our show.
You're just like an angel. You sound so bright and true. You seem so sweet coming down my street, but the devil is an angel too. And the devil too. What you're after, baby, moves through chapters, no way to know what's on the next page. Bottle it up the way you feel right now. Whenever I get lonely, gonna drink a little down. Bottle it up the way you're holding me. If ever I get lonely, gonna pour myself a drink.
I'm with you. Bottle It Up is awesome. Before we started recording, I shared that song. It's one of my favorites from the last 5 years, and I've even played it myself. I did not sound nearly as good as Jade.
I want to hear you sing it now. You have to sing it for me sometime.
Whenever I get lonely, gonna drink a little down. Bottle it up the way you're holding me. If ever I get lonely, gonna pour myself a drink. My heart, I don't need a man's hands to open the jar where I captured and kept safe the things that I'm willing to share with you, babe. Bottle it up the way we feel right now. Whenever I get lonely, gonna drink a little down.
Jade, what's your favorite Aubrie Sellers song?
Wait, you had records before this one? I'm just kidding. I'm like, that's like my least favorite question, whether it's like, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite? Because my mood changes so much. I think the thing that jumped out the most to me when I saw her live and started diving into her music was just the combination of her amazing voice, but also like how you lean more towards like just a more rock and roll thing than like your voice would be so beautiful over so many different things. And I just like really loved her sound. And yeah, it's hard for me to pick favorites. I can't pick a favorite off this album. If I did, it would probably be Fair Weather, just because I just really connected with that song. And that's one of Aubrie's songs. Yeah, it's hard to pick favorites because it's really changing. Like one day I'll listen to one song and that's the best song of all time. And the next day it's something completely different.
Aubrie and Jade, I know you have a heart out. Thank you so much for talking to me. This has been awesome. Before I let you go, please plug your pluggables and share how our listeners can find more about your album Breaking Point.
Our Instagram is Jackson+Sellers Music, correct?
Yeah.
And then I think the website is Jackson+Sellers.com. But you can also go to AubrieSellers.com or JadeJackson.com. Yeah, it's Jackson+Sellers.com. And yeah, the pre-order for the vinyl and everything is up now, and then that the physicals will come out in December. So we'll be doing stuff until then.
We recommend everyone check out your sites. It has been so cool talking, and I hope you'll come back.
Thank you so much. It was great talking to you.
That wraps episode 244. Big thanks to Jackson+Sellers. They were very generous with their time and were a joy to talk to. Their album Breaking Point is out and can be purchased wherever fine music is sold. Next time on the Cosmic Geppetto Podcast, Dr. Anna Papard makes her long-awaited return to discuss athletes in entertainment. Till then, in the words of Jarf Hardin,
see you in the funny pages.
Subscribe to the Cosmic Geppetto Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever quality podcasts can be found. Rate and review us while there. Follow us on Twitter @CosmicGPod, and we will follow you back. Unless you're a jerk, we don't follow jerks. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Cosmic Geppetto. We love hearing your ideas for upcoming episodes. Email us at cosmicgeppetto@comcast.net.
So she stayed in the nest and watched all the rest bump their breasts up toward the sky. Hush, little darling, don't say a